some men complain or have the thought that we want men to be like women because the traditional woman supports the man. That's their role. The guy's role was to go to work and stuff. Now we turning around and asking these guys to have emotional intelligence, to be there supporting you. It's like, this does not come innate to me. Like, what do you mean I have to support you?
Right?
So they feel like, I'm not equipped for this. And what about my support? Like, are you going to be gung-ho about what the hell I'm doing too? Or, you know what I mean? Like, how are we asking these men to be something that they know nothing about, that they haven't seen, and does not come natural to them? Okay, hi everyone. Welcome back to my comfy couch. So listen, I have something special for you today, okay? We're gonna switch it up a little bit in our format. As you can see, I have the beautiful Shatoria on the line with me today. Say hi, Shatoria.
Hi.
And welcome back to my comfy couch, of which here we discuss all the dating challenges today in the world, the modern challenges. I'm Nicole, I'm a life coach and a crisis counselor. And don't forget, if you guys have been watching this show, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. We're trying to grow the channel and we need your help. So support us while you're on here, okay? So I've been thinking lately to do this segment about what modern day women want in a man. Right? It seems we've had so many discussions about the disconnect between men and women. And I think a big part of that is how the gender roles have kind of changed. And the modern woman is might be looking for some things different than we were before. So I thought it would be a really healthy discussion if I could bring women on here who have their career going to let you know, what are they looking for? What challenges do they have trying to date the men that are out there right now? And let's just have like a healthy discussion. So Shatoria, can you tell me for me, what's your age and what's your occupation?
I am the ripe, tender age of 38, and I am an attorney.
Okay. Thank you so much again for being here and taking the time to be here. So Shatoria, tell me, which we spoke about before, so I thought that was a very good idea you brought up. How about defining what we mean by modern woman? So tell me, what's your perception of what a modern woman is?
So you kind of touched on it in terms of the modern woman does not embody the typical stay-at-home or the homemaker is not their main role. So they are in the workforce. They either have a career, run a business, they're educated, and also they prioritize themselves and the other roles that they may have outside of being a homemaker.
So our next guest that we have on today is Sharon. Say hi, Sharon.
Hi, Sharon.
That's how you're gonna get us started.
I listen. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me, Comfy Couch.
I'm so happy, Sharon. And I want to say thank you because I know that you're one of our avid viewers. Like, you really get engaged in the comments. You watch the content.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So
the
Sharon,
topics are super interesting. That's what keeps me.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yes.
We need that feedback, okay?
Yeah.
So Sharon, tell me, what industry are you in? Tell me what field are you in?
I'm actually an accountant.
Okay.
Yes, and I own my own firm.
Okay, awesome. So that's good to know. And can I ask your age for the audience, just for some context?
Yes, I am proudly 49 years old, turned 49 this year. Yes.
Oh, I love it.
This is what the new 50 looks like.
Hello, let them know. Right, it's true. It's totally different from, back in the day, what you thought of as 50 before. Yes. It's totally different. So before we get started, I want to kind of get your definition. Like, when you think of the term modern woman, like what would you define that to be? What does that look like to you?
Okay, that's super interesting that you asked that question because mine actually comes with a bit of a twist.
Okay, tell me.
Yes, I am a modern day woman with traditional views.
Okay, tell me now.
So when I say traditional views, I don't mean traditional as in gender roles. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just traditional as far as I expect or I would like for a man to lead in the relationship, in the marriage. Although I am a modern day woman, meaning I'm out here getting it for myself, doing it on my own. And I'm proudly doing that. I don't need the assistance of a man to provide for myself in the way that I'm providing for myself. So let me just make that clear. But my views are very traditional. So some might be surprised to hear that coming from me. People say I'm super aggressive, super assertive, and those things I do not apologize for. They've become very handy tools for me when it comes to business. But I do have a difference of opinion with a lot of other women when it comes to the relationship aspect of who I am, who Sharon is.
So we have another lovely lady on the show today. As you guys will know her, Nadia, say hi.
Hello. Hello. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's always a pleasure having you. Nadia is one of my ride or die. She's a top fan, if you guys remember, on the show.
Self-proclaimed top friend, yes.
And officially, according to Facebook, and you are the top fan on the show. Thank you so much for being on here.
Thank
So
you.
Nadia, okay, so we know your name's Nadia. Nadia, tell me, what's your profession?
Well, I'm actually a local government employee. I'm a manager. I've been there about 16 years, and I've been in my current position for about 3.5.
Okay. And can you let me know your age for the record, please?
Yes, I'm a lovely Gemini, and I am 43.
Y'all ladies kill me when I ask. I love the personality. You guys are amazing. Okay, so I wanted to talk about kind of what your definition of a modern day woman is, okay? Compared to the traditional woman, what would you define to be a modern day woman?
I would say a modern day woman is someone who, a woman who wants to be treated equally as far as in the workforce, someone that wants to be respected, someone that wants to have a say in the family and their relationship, someone that can take care of herself and provide for herself financially and emotionally for her family, and just someone that wants to be taken, not looked down as, upon, but to be seen as the equal to a man in the workforce and in certain situations.
What do you think the modern day woman is looking for in a man as opposed to, the traditional woman is? Like, what do you think is the change?
I would say the biggest change is that the modern woman, or I would say the modern woman doesn't fit in the same mold as possibly your mom or your aunts or older women that you have, or that a man has had experience with. I know that typically we're influenced by what we see growing up and by the examples in our families. And so unfortunately and fortunately, the modern woman doesn't totally embody what you may have seen in your household or in your church and things like that. It's also fortunate and unfortunate for the modern woman because we're navigating this new definition of what it means to be female, what it means to be woman, or what it means to be significant other, mother, co-worker. We're navigating this new space. And so it's the first thing that I would ask anyone that I'm dating is grace and flexibility to allow me to define, how I'm going to show up in our relationship.
So you're saying essentially you may fulfill a different role in a relationship than what they're expecting. So do you, and I think you bring such a good point, because I think, like, how people say, like, the guy is looking for their mom. So they grew up with their mom and they're looking for you to have those attributes.
Yes.
But like you said, times have changed. You're not, you're not staying at home with the kids. Like, you have your career and all these other aspects about you that you're trying to, live up to. So, so do you have this conversation up front? You said you ask for grace and patience. You speak to them. Do you kind of have a conversation like, hey, this is where I see my role in this relationship as? Is that kind of the way you start things off to kind of set it, straight from the beginning?
Moving forward, I will.
Okay. So you weren't before.
I was not before. I didn't even realize that, I needed to have those conversations until it was kind of too late, honestly, you know. I started having conversations about how I want to show up in the relationship once that person has already told me how they felt about me, or, you know, feelings had already been involved. And I totally know now that that is attributed to women having difficulty in advocating for themselves in all relationships or in all spaces. So typically, you know, we don't, or I won't say typically, sometimes we don't ask for what we're worth at work. We don't ask for certain things in a relationship, whether intimate or not. You know, we don't set expectations because I'm going to say strong Black woman a lot, not to offend anyone, but you know, I'm a strong Black woman. So I don't need you to do anything for me. I just need you to kind of be there and just support me. But no, that's not true. You know, being a woman, anyone, but especially a strong Black woman, we need to be more comfortable with asking for help, setting expectations out in the beginning. And of course, that requires that we know how we want to show up in those relationships.
Ladies out there who might be having challenges dating as a modern woman, perhaps you do need to have that kind of conversation up front with a guy. You know, what does it look like to have, what does a woman's role play in a relationship from your perspective? And, you know, have the guy and have that type of conversation, because it's true, what men are looking for and expecting might not be what we are expecting. So I think that's a great key there. I also wanted to go on because you said in terms of being a strong Black woman, you don't need kind of a guy to, let's say, help you, but just be there for you. Let's segue into that. Like, if you had to specify, you know, what a woman is looking for who does have her career going, because I feel like, you know, a lot of men, you hear the reason, hey, you know, she just wants me for my money. You know, she wants a guy that's balling or whatever. But I feel like, you know, personally, you know, modern women who are successful may not necessarily need you to be as balling as they are. We're kind of looking for other things. So talk a little bit about that, Shatoria.
Although I do not need him to be balling because I do pretty well for myself, it's nice if he is, you know, it's nice for him to be financially stable, and that doesn't have to come by way of six figures. You know, financial stability to me it's different than just having money in your bank account. And it starts with the mindset, like, do you even know what your credit score is? Do you know what a portfolio is? Can we have those types of conversations? So I would need for the person who I'm with, the man that I'm with, to at least have a basic understanding of finances, of health. Girl, let me tell you, I don't know how many men. I'm like, oh, do you have you been to the dentist? Or, you know, what's your primary care? Like, come on, I need you to prioritize your health. I need you to prioritize your mental health. I need you to share the same, what do I say? I prioritize family. You know, so I would need someone to share in some core values with me.
Okay. Now, in terms of the finances, so is it okay if he makes like less than you, but he is fiscally responsible? He can, you know, take care of himself. You know, you don't have to take care of him, but he may not be making as much as you.
Oh yeah,
Are you okay with that?
I am, yes, perfectly fine with that. Now, you can't be making a certain amount of money and, like you say, you can't take care of yourself or take me out on a date. Like, I'm just going to be like, to me, that's my love language. I like acts of service. I like, I don't know, gifts. And so you need to have the ability to take me out. Yes.
Okay. So he's gonna take it, but he can't take you. He's got to take you out to like really, you know, like nicer places, right? Like if he takes you, if he takes you to Applebee's and stuff, because that's he's on a budget.
I don't eat Applebee's. I don't eat Applebee's. No.
So the thing is that, does he have to be able to afford the kinds of places? Are they kind of on the higher end, or is it that we get $20 plate or less type meals, you know? Because that's the question too, is guys are thinking, if I see this woman who's got her life together, can I afford her lifestyle? If she does want to go on dates, like you said, if I take her to IHOP or something, which is what I can afford, you know, is she going to look down on me and not be happy with us? You know what I mean? Tell
Listen,
me.
I can't afford my lifestyle. I'm too rich for me. So listen, there are ways around it, right? So most higher end restaurants have happy hour. They do. They have a lunch menu. So we don't have to go and spend $150 on dinner. No, that may not even be fiscally responsible, depending on what you have going on. But yes, I do like nice things. And I don't eat Applebee's. You're gonna be taking me out to nice places. I take myself out to nice places. I take my friends out to nice places. I take my kids out to nice places. So yes, you're going to have to be able to take me out to nice places.
So how do you feel about that dilemma? Because nowadays a lot of Black women are making more, getting and more educated, and a lot of times you hear the average guy makes $30-something thousand. But what if he's like,
that is not true, friend. No, that really.
So let's say if the average person, let's say, is making 30-something, let's say even 40-something, even 50, like especially here in South Florida, that can't get you that far, okay? So the question is like, okay, what do we do since there's such, again, the
pay disparity?
Yes, between men and women, and it's like, okay, what do we do if women still want to have this lifestyle, like they treat themselves, but they still want a good dude too? Do you think the modern day women are willing to accept a guy that might not be able to keep up the lifestyle, so they might have to spend more on the dinners than the dude? You know what I mean? Like, you think modern women are willing to do that for like a good man who will hold you and the kids down, like he's picking up the kids, he is helping tutor them, he is showing up at the house, you know what I mean? He's rubbing your foot, he's rubbing your back, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I think so. I think because it's more to a relationship than money and going out. If I come home from work and this client has pissed me off, I need for you to, catch those clues and be able to be present with me or for me so that we can kind of talk that through. Or if I'm, experiencing some difficulties and I'm, thinking negatively about myself, I need for you to pick up on that and reaffirm me and, help me out. So yes, I think the modern woman actually needs a man who's there for her more than financially.
okay.
Yes.
Okay, because that's the thing is I wanted to, put that out there because guys are thinking, okay, if I see this woman, she's got a great job. Even when they look at her, you're wearing your cute business outfit, like you just look like you're put together. They shy away from approaching you because they're like, I cannot afford that. I cannot keep that up. But that's why I wanted to have the discussion. If they can compensate in other ways, are women willing to, maybe fit the bill a bit more than he would?
I think so. Yes, absolutely.
So my next question for you is going to be, so what challenges have you had? Do you think, because you're a modern woman, like there are some specific challenges that come along with that when you're trying to date nowadays?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because like I said, being a modern woman, being a modern Black woman, right? So we are facing challenges at work. We're facing challenges within our relationships. We're facing challenges in our families. And so when we have certain conversations with men, I think that it's new territory. And sometimes, or in my experience, men are less willing to go to therapy. And so if they're less willing to seek out help for themselves, well, then how do they know how to show up, to help me? If you don't even know, when it's time for you to seek help mentally, whether you have a mentor, spiritually, do you have a relationship with your pastor? So if the man that I'm in a relationship with does not have someone to cover them and to seek help out and seek advice from, then it's going to be difficult for them to help me out, right? If I'm talking about, oh my goodness, I want to diversify my portfolio, and they're like, what are you talking about? You make good money. You good? No, I'm trying to create generational wealth. So the challenge that I've had in dating is my desire to just do more for myself and for my family. And then the person that I'm in a relationship with is like, you're doing too much. You're already an attorney. Why are you going back to school? You already have a good job. Why are you still looking for a job? You know, I hear you interviewing for another job. You going back to school. Why are you, you know, you're seeing another therapist. So my biggest challenge is that, you know, someone to keep up with my desire to grow.
You know, that's a good point, Shatoria. And again, I see the dilemma because yes, we want this from men, but the percentage of men that have this, that ambition, right? So it's like the women who are modern day women who are, you know, have these careers and stuff, we've got that ambition going. So we're trying to get it, get it, get it. And then you have a plethora of men who are not. So it's like, how do the two, what I'm trying to say is there'll be slim pickings for you and a lot of the modern women because there's so many of us that are like how we are, but there's so few guys that have that ambition. So it's like, what do we do? Do we fight over this 10% and hope somebody looks at us, or do we try to uplift or deal with, you know, all of these men that might not be as ambitious, but again, will show up at least, you know, to help you or be a good man to you? You know, what is the solution? Is the solution? You get what I'm saying? Because that's the dilemma. It's not that many people, but like you said, if you're not somebody who's ambitious, you're not going to value those things, and you know it's gonna be off. So man, it's a big challenge.
That's a huge. So I will say this: if I meet a guy who isn't as ambitious but values what I value, then they will be supportive. Right.
Yes.
So I don't necessarily require anyone that I'm dating to have a postgraduate degree and, you know, have a job that requires that degree. But if you value education, like education comes in all forms, you know, picking up a book, you know, going to seminars, having intellectual conversations. If you value education and knowledge, if I attain my education and knowledge the traditional way, you will still support it. You would still be supportive. So I urge, you know, when a modern woman is having conversations, first, like I said, know what it is you value. And then understand that it may look different, right? So for me, value education, go to law school, get a PhD, like that's how it shows up for me. But for someone else, it may be different.
Oh, that's true. And you know, another issue that I see too is that some men complain or have the thought that we want men to be like women because the traditional woman supports the man. You know, that's their role. The guy's role was to go to work and stuff. Now we turning around and asking these guys to have emotional intelligence, to be there supporting you. It's like, this does not come innate to me. Like, what do you mean I have to support you?
Right.
So they feel like, I'm not equipped for this. And what about my support? Like, are you going to be gun-ho about what the hell I'm doing too? Or, you know what I mean? Like, how are we asking these men to be something that they know nothing about, that they haven't seen, and does not come natural to them? Correct. So this whole discussion is for both men and women to think like, okay, am I asking or requiring or desiring something of someone that's not them? And if so, what can we do to kind of find a happy medium? So I'm just, you know, putting those thoughts out there to our viewers, you know, who are having challenges, because, you know, this is the issue going on right now. Go ahead, Shatoria. What are your thoughts on that?
Girl, that's a lot. So again, I started by saying that the modern woman is navigating waters that have not been navigated before.
Yeah.
And we are continuously trying to find ourselves within these new arenas that we found and fought and clawed our way into. So it's difficult. And I truly believe that the success of, you know, the next generation and the following is going to require Black men and Black women to strip away the us versus them mentality and figure out how can we do this together.
Yes.
So if you see the Black woman is highly educated, climbing the career ladder, opening up more businesses, what can you do, Black man, to support her? What can you do, Black man, to support that movement? Because a home needs a strong foundation. You know, the walls and the support of a home are just as important as the roof and everything within it. And so I believe that, like I said, the Black man is going to have to dispel the expectation that I'm going to show up like his mom, and he's also going to dispel the expectation that he's going to show up like his dad. We are going to have to create a new normal, new gender identities, new gender roles within our relationship. And until we do that, we're going to be us versus them.
It's true. And vice versa, because I do want to put it, not only do the men have to change, but now the modern day woman has to understand the man as well. Because like I said, they have innate things about them and they're looking at you for a certain kind of thing. So, you know, some of the things guys mention is like, okay, you're kicking butt at work. Can you turn that off when you come home? When you come home, are you still trying to lead me and tell me what to do and what you ain't gonna do and all that, you know? So there's challenges on both sides. I feel like both sides need to understand, hey, this is where we're at. And like you said, have those healthy discussions, like what is our relationship going to look like for us? And be willing to bend and empathetic, you know, see where the person's coming from and see what middle ground we can meet at.
Yeah.
Do you find that it's challenging for, in your position, you said you're an attorney, do you find that you had or you still have kind of a struggle sometimes that when you get home that you kind of turn that off a bit so that you're in the more of a, still allowing the man to lead? Do you think that you have a challenge with that sometimes?
I think I do have a challenge with that because it's unnatural for me to turn off how I think. A common misunderstanding about attorneys is that we like to argue. I hear that all the time. I do not like to argue. I don't. You know why? Because I'm better at it than a lot of people. So it's not fun. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. It's not fun, right? So I don't want to argue. I don't. I want to have a stimulating intellectual conversation. And if we are disagreeing about something, I want to be able to communicate. And I want you to be able to communicate so that we can resolve conflict. And so being an attorney, I'm wired to resolve conflict. That's what attorneys do. They're wired to resolve conflicts and to solve problems or present solutions. And so prior to going to law school, that's who I was. I didn't go to law school until I was 26 years old. So I was pretty much wired and who I was at 26. I was a mom and I was 26. Was I 26 or 27? Girl, maybe 28. I was 28 when I went to law school. So I was a grown woman. So I didn't just become this. This is my profession. So I have a challenge with turning off the problem solver in me. I do. And I also want people to understand that typically people fall into professions that identify with their values. So if you are a problem solver and you become an attorney, that's because that's how your brain is wired. That's because you find joy in solving problems and then you become an attorney. So to turn it off when you get home, it's kind of like turning off a part of you. So when men say, well, that's who you are at work, I want you to turn it off, it's probably because they are working in a profession that aligns with their skill set. So yes, I do have an issue with solving problems and finding solutions and letting the man figure it out. I do.
So have you learned to kind of, you know, navigate that water? Are you working on that as well?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely working on it. I think the biggest help for me in that situation is I'm going to need someone who's going to say, hey, babe, are you coming to me are we trying to solve this or are we just talking about it? So I learned that in, you know, being a friend, being a coach, being a mom, being everything. Just figure out the gate, are you just venting? Are you asking me for help?
Yeah, that's good. That's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. So lastly, I wanted to kind of talk about, have you noticed that with this whole disconnect, right? Like you said, that whole us against them type thing, do you feel that some women are just choosing to be single? They're like, okay, I had enough of this. I'ma just, get this cat, get this dog, chill with my homegirls, go to brunch, and this is gonna be my life because I'm through.
Yeah.
Like, are you finding that your friends or women that you know, or even yourself, are kind of like, I'm leaning towards that at this point?
Yes. And even my friends in relationships would be like, okay, y'all, you want somebody? Let me tell you what it's like with a boyfriend. Buyer beware. Yes, because relationships are difficult. And then to add on the pieces of, like I said, everything else with being a modern woman or a strong Black woman, it just adds a layer that we as a people aren't equipped to deal with. We're not.
Mm.
We're not equipped to deal with this. There's still a lot of studies that are needed in this area, profession, like, within
Yes.
psychology and financial studies, and how the strong Black woman or the modern woman affects not only the woman, but her relationships, her intimate relationships. And we didn't even get on, touch on how it affects kids, what they see.
Yes.
Because again, I saw an example of a woman in my household. So I kind of, internalize some of that, but what are our children looking at, and how are they going to be affected? And so I think about that, and sometimes I'm like, I don't want to mess up my kids. So I would just rather be by myself so I don't mess them up, or I don't, provide them negative examples of being in a relationship. So, yep.
Oh, man. It's not easy, but I think conversations like this are a helpful start. If both
Yes.
sides can understand, what's really going on, what is it we're really desiring, and some of the challenges, and that at least could help open up the conversation between men and women as to what we can do to bring some resolutions to this. So, Shatoria, thank you. You were awesome. You
Aw.
were awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you again for joining us on this show,
Yes, you're
and
welcome.
blessings to you on everything, all your endeavors. And thank you all for watching this segment, and we'll see you next time on My Comfy Couch. Toodles.